Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It's been a cold and wet week here on the farm, but not unexpected because it is now winter officially. We have had frosts, we have had full days of just rain and mist. And it's been pretty much days spending inside and running out to get firewood to restock the inside firewood supply so that we can keep warm. On those days where it just doesn't clear all day, there have been kangaroos staying out in the paddocks grazing, which has been really nice to watch out through the window or from when I've had to just sneak across to the shed to do some things. We have had one really beautiful blue sky day. That was one of those frosty mornings, and then the day just turned amazing. Very, very cold. Kind of okay when you're in the sun, but just a really brilliant winter's day. Just before it got really cold, I arranged to get another couple of bales of straw for inside the shelter for the sheep. Not for them to eat, although I think they do nibble on it a little bit. It's not as interesting as or tasty and nutritious as regular hay or grass or the grain. The last batch that I had put down had sort of washed away and been trampled down. And now that I have that water diverting around behind the back of the shed from the drinking bath overflow and not down into the shelter quite so much, it was a good opportunity before it got cold, which now it has, to replenish all that, get it nice and fluffy and soft and warm so that the sheep have a dry and warm spot to go to escape out of the cold. And they do use it, but then they also do just like to sit out in the paddock as well. They obviously still need to graze, and they have their warm wool, so they are pretty okay most of the time. It's just on those really, really cold, windy days especially that they need that shelter area, so I'm glad that I got that done before winter. This past weekend, I attended another market as part of the Tea Time Yarn retreats. It was a really good one for me this time around. Sold quite a bit of yarn and also met some really great crafty people. It was fun to see all of the projects they were working on, sit down and have a chat with them afterwards. I'm looking forward to doing some more of those in the coming months. I have sock classes coming up in June and July at Unwind, and I also have some more of these Tea Time Yarn retreat markets coming up as well. So I need to do some restocking. It's been a little while since I've done a whole lot of dyeing, partly because I didn't have any water here at the shed for a little while, but also because I did a big batch like a month and a half ago, and I was able to sort of spread that out over the time. So it's time to get back into the dye pots. So this week I have started my dye list, ran some reports from my shop to see the colorways that had sold out. Also just looked at my tubs of supply, and I'm going to try and sort of fill in those color gaps. My first priority will be to restock all of my flower colorways as sort of my signature range of colors. I think that that's where I should start. So first I am winding mini skeins from the sort of single skeins that I have left over from the colors, and then I will do a full restock of all of the flower colorways. Then I'll move on to doing colors of other sock yarns and then DK as well. So there will be a lot of dyeing coming up hopefully in the next few weeks, which I will be sharing on Instagram, and I'll also be sharing here. This week I am wearing my Drachenfels shawl that I made in 2015. It's by Melanie Berg. It is a lovely garter stitch shawl with some stripes and a little bit of patterning in 3 colors. See if I can show. So it's got like little dots of color along the edge, and then it expands out to it's all brown at one end, and it's like purple and green and brown throughout. I will put a link below to my project page so you can see it properly. I don't want to take it off because it's nice and warm and it is cold here in the shed. I still don't have the fire flue connected, which I absolutely need to do. I keep putting it off and I shouldn't anymore. But even so, I probably wouldn't have started the fire today because I'm only over here to record and then I have to go and do some things outside of the house. So the fire wouldn't have been on. So I need to keep myself as rugged up as possible right now. I finished the beanie that I was making out of the leftovers from the Gallium knee-high socks in the Ren and Ollie Stardust colorway. Here it is here. It's really fun to see how it pulled so much, this color, as opposed to the stripes that came out when I was knitting on the smaller circumference for the socks. I used the Tramontane brim from that pattern. So it's sort of a short row brim. It's like longer at the front and shorter at the back. Then I just knit plain rather than doing a lace pattern. And I use the decreases from the sock head hat to finish it off. Let's see if I can wreck my hair by showing you it on. So when you have it on, you can see the colors look really cool. There we go. I've also made quite a bit of progress on my painting Honeycomb shawl by Stephen West, where I'm using my hand spun yarn in that gradient, and it is Drover by Queensland Collection in a merino silk tweed, and it is coming up really beautifully. Actually from the back you can see much better the color variations at the moment. It starts off sort of blue and green, it's moving into more of the green, and then right up here we're starting to get quite a dark green, and I am getting down on my first ball. I'm really enjoying this. It does get quite rhythmic. There's a row where you kind of set up your slip stitches and your color, and then you just sort of follow that back on the next rows. Then you continue on where you get those bits of color and those bits of the gray. So it has actually been quite good to do while I've been watching TV. I've got to concentrate a little bit, and then I can just get going on just matching it up on the following rows. And of course, I have started another pair of socks. I couldn't go too long without having any socks on the needles. This time I am doing an 8-ply pair of socks for my dad as bed socks for his birthday. So here's my progress so far, and I only started these yesterday, so they're not going to take too long. They look really big, and I mean, he's got large feet, and I want them to be loose and comfortable, easy to get on, but also easy to slip off as well. I'm knitting these out of a Corriedale silk blend from Colleen's Craft in a hand-dyed color. She didn't name, it's just a beautiful green, and you can see the lighter green is where the silk content is, and it doesn't take the dye quite the same way. And I've kind of created my own needles for this one. So I'm using the longer tip of my Chiagu Shorty set in the 4mm, and I've got a cable which is a spin cable from the Chiagu set. So I've sort of mixed and matched to make the right length for knitting these socks. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.